At 5:23 a.m. over Belgar Oblast, the vast oil depot and refinery sat hushed under a low gray sky. Then, without warning, nearly 60 North Korean armored vehicles and 40 surface-to-air missile launchers surged from multiple directions. They advanced beneath swarms of more than 100 loitering drones, their signals cloaked by thick electronic jamming. Ukrainian defenders moved fast, deploying 25 T-80 tanks, a dozen air defense batteries, MiG-29 fighters, Bayraktar TB2 strike drones, and mobile T-64 air defense armor. This wasn't a raid. It was a coordinated multi-domain strike, a move aimed at strangling vital fuel lines and provoking a wider conflict. The first 6 minutes were a controlled storm of sensors and steel. Ukrainian TB2s and ISR drones climbed into the skies, building a digital net that streamed, targeting data to command vans, positioned behind the refinery. On the ground, robot scouts and unmanned vehicles prowled the ditches, hunting for heat signatures and mines. Meanwhile, 3 armored spearheads, 35 tanks with anti-air support pressed, and from the northeast and southwest, pausing every few hundred feet to probe the defenses under artillery cover. Ukrainian T-80s answered with sudden bursts of fire, slipping behind berms while HIMARS batteries, positioned 11 miles west, lobbed GPS-guided rockets at enemy staging areas. Electronic warfare units blanketed a 2-mile radius in scrambled signals, fracturing enemy comms and forcing them to switch to slower, unreliable backups. Neither side held the field yet, but the opening moves revealed the scale of the contest. When North Korean armor broke past the tree line and pushed within, got 200 yards of the refinery's perimeter, the tempo shifted. Ukrainian forces transitioned from reaction to coordination. Drone operators, artillery crews, and tank commanders synchronized their fire plans across a 9-square-mile grid. HIMARS crews targeted enemy supply trucks near Novir. Overhead, MiG-29s flew racetrack orbits, deterring enemy aircraft and striking exposed radar units. Neptune strike batteries, usually coastal weapons, had been repositioned inland. From 60 miles out, they fired like long-range snipers, crippling bridges and choke points to slow reinforcement. EW teams advanced deeper, creating pockets of distortion that fractured targeting locks. Ground crews were forced to pass coordinates by hand under fire. On the ground, T-80s and T-64s fought in complementary pairs, baiting enemy armor into carefully prepared kill zones. Instead of holding broad ground, they contested angles, road bends, and fire lanes shaped by the refinery's pipelines. Smoke hung low, targeting feeds blinked in and out, and orders were shouted over fractured nets. But this wasn't chaos, it was calculated exhaustion, designed to grind the enemy to a crawl. The grinding maneuver warfare gave way to something far more violent when North Korean armor pushed toward the eastern tank farm, just 950 yards from the first storage tanks. 80 loitering drones filled the sky, diving at fuel trucks, bunkers, and relay stations. Ukrainian defenders answered with layered fire from bunkers and trench lines carved only days before. Heavy machine guns and anti-tank rockets opened up. Smoke grenades and chaff blinded incoming drones as small units maneuvered through alleys and buried pipelines for cover. Robot dogs sprinted along the fencing to detect mines before infantry advanced. In the skies, MiG-29s fired radar-guided missiles to intercept threats while Ukrainian T-64 mounted air defenses shredded incoming drones. North Korean jets attempted short-range strikes, but one was forced to abort under fire. This was not a battle for ground. It was a race against time. While frontline defenders blunted the push, engineers in flame-resistant suits sealed pump heads and sprayed foam around pressure valves. Fire crews fought blazes sparked by falling drones. Electronic warfare units scrambled the eastern approach, cutting guidance feeds at the last second. UGV scouts relayed targeting data as Ukrainian squads counterattacked, not to capture territory, but to push the enemy back 200 yards at a time, buying minutes for engineers to secure vital systems. By the 4th hour, the battle had compressed into brutal firefights over 3 key sites: a concrete pump station, a cluster of manifold junctions near the admin building, and a narrow convoy access road. Losing anyone would mean structural collapse. North Korean sappers tried to flank through the tree belt to sabotage valves and control boxes, but Ukrainian drones dropped precision munitions on their advance. Every volley carried risk. HIMARS crews were down to limited rounds. T-80 units cycled spare batteries just to keep fire control systems alive. Electronic deception became a hidden front. EW teams flooded channels with false signals, tricking North Korean drones into striking abandoned lots or decommissioned tanks. Fake beacons lured others into crashing against concrete walls. Amid wreckage, acts of courage surfaced. Engineers sprinted across open ground to reconnect ruptured power lines. Medics pulled the wounded behind forklifts, turning them into makeshift cover. One fire team dashed under sniper fire to retrieve a wounded enemy crewman, later handing him over to medics along with injured refinery workers. Casualties mounted, but restraint and duty remained, protection of life within engineered destruction. By late afternoon, the contest hardened. North Korea escalated, bringing in 203mm self-propelled artillery and short-range ballistic missiles. From over 20 miles out, volleys slammed into Ukrainian positions. Blast walls crumbled, vehicles flipped from overpressure, and a mobile aid station was obliterated. Yet Ukraine's defense flexed in real time. MiG-29s flew low intercept patterns, shooting down drones guiding incoming missiles. T-64 air defense units launched short-range interceptors from hidden berms. EW vans burst high-band interference, breaking missile locks in their final seconds. Some missiles missed, others struck decoys, and others bought just enough time for evacuations. Behind the lines, the true battle was logistics. Fuel was oxygen, feeding vehicles, radar, and firefighting systems. Convoys moved only at night, under tarps designed to absorb radar, escorted by armored carriers. Mechanics welded scorched barrels under fire, patching armor with whatever metal they had. One team restored partial flow to a manifold using spare pipes and sealant, buying 90 minutes of stability. Another patched a generator powering EW vans. Without those repairs, the line would have collapsed. By the 6th hour, the refinery still stood, but Neptune batteries had only 2 missiles left. Both commanders, strained by losses and dwindling stocks, recalibrated. The battle shifted from annihilation to endurance. Broad assaults gave way to surgical interdictions, short, probing strikes at valves, choke points, and antenna masts. Around 9:15 p.m., under drone-mounted IR lights, informal corridors opened. Ukrainian medics evacuated civilians through tunnels. In a rare exchange, a captured North Korean sapper was traded for coordinates to trapped workers in a collapsed substation. For a moment, amid fire and ruin, humanity surfaced. The refinery still burned in places, but the horizon quieted. The silence was not peace, only exhaustion, the heavy breath before the next decision. The refinery's output was crippled, regional logistics disrupted for weeks. Yet the cost was measured restraint, not scorched earth. Strategically, North Korea was forced to rethink its deployments. Ukraine learned that defending civilians and infrastructure was not just moral but tactical. Still, a question lingered. How many fuel depots or hubs could survive another assault like this? The final image remains. A black column of smoke rising over flat fields, rescue crews pulling the wounded from rubble, and both sides weary but alert, staring toward a tomorrow no one can yet define.